give a $200 referral for any customers that coming by.
Most salespeople, and I know I was highly ineffective, as in not very good at getting referrals. And
That's a good, I like doing it.
well, it's obviously an important part of the salesperson's business. Make no mistake about that. You know, you figure the dealership should be responsible for half of the vehicles you sell. You should be responsible for the other half. So if you're selling 10, you should bring in 5. They should bring in 5. You're selling 20, 10, and 10, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
Now, there's a mathematical reason most salespeople are ineffective at gaining referrals. There's 6 million people in Metro Atlanta. What percentage of those people today are in the market for a new or used vehicle?
About 45, 50%.
5%.
Oh, in the market?
Only 5% of the 6 million people in Metro Atlanta are in the market for a new or used vehicle today.
That's a low number.
Well, you think about it. There's 6 million, so 10% would be 600,000. That's 300,000 people.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you
But how many dealerships? Let me stop.
there's what, probably 175 new car franchises with what, 300 used car stores at least. So, right. But if you think about that, if you ask somebody for a referral, they've only got a 5% chance of knowing anybody in the market for a
Who
car.
needs one, right?
Right. But as time goes on, if I don't forget you, I'm going to run into people as your customer, whether it be at work, at play, party, church, whatever. I'm going to run into people over time who are in the market for a car. And if I remember you and you have made a big impression on me, then there's a good chance I'll be sending them to you. And obviously with you, that sounds like that's the case. All right.
It matters.
Let's go through the first 2 pages of this otherwise big booklet,
Okay.
because the other pages I've already given you. Okay? How effective are traditional requests for referrals? And the answer to that is not very. And when I say traditional, I was taught to ask my customer at delivery for 5 names. Okay, that doesn't fly. Then I was taught to every time I followed up with a phone call to ask them for a referral. That really, depending on the customer and the relationship you built, that could be annoying. But if I don't forget you, I'm going to run into people in the market for a car, and if you're the only salesperson I know, or my favorite car salesperson, then I'm going to send them to you. And again, that sounds to me like what's happening with you. A salesman about 5 years ago told me this, and tell me if you agree. He said, "Steve, the first time I sell a car, it's because I didn't screw things up." I said, "I don't understand what you're talking about." He goes, "Well, look, my dealership had to be in a decent location. We had to have a decent inventory. Management had to price things right. And I didn't screw things up when the customer got here. So obviously I had to do some right things, but it was more the dealership selling the car than me." But he said, after that, it's up to me to make sure they come back or provide referrals. And the reason I'm talking to this guy is, Claire, when I met him, he was averaging 57 units a month. He made 450 grand the year before. So when I run into somebody like that, I'm gonna pick their brains, okay? Because I don't run into that many people like that. And I said, "Well, how do you do it?" He said, "Well, I don't do it the way you teach it." I said, "What are you talking about? I've not taught you anything about prospecting." He goes, "But let me guess. You teach salespeople to ask for referrals at delivery, ask for referrals on follow-up calls." I said, "Well, yeah." He said, "You do that because you did it as a salesman, right?" I said, "Yep." He goes, "How effective were you?" I said, "Not very." He said, "You couldn't make it work, yet you teach it." He said, "You're a dumbass." And you know what? Son of a gun was right. I said, "So you don't believe in referrals?" He goes, "Oh, no." He goes, "I couldn't sell the number of cars I sell without referrals." He goes, "Referrals are the lifeblood for the long-term spectacular success of any salesperson." I said, "Well, I said, help me." He goes, "I contact all my customers once a month." I said, "Well, Tom, I said, I don't need to be a mathematical wizard to know that if you're selling 57 cars a month, there's no way in the world you can talk to all your customers every single month. He goes, I didn't say I talked to them. I said, I contacted them. And I said, you sent a newsletter? He looked at me like I was the biggest dumbass. He goes, would you read a newsletter from a car salesman? I said, no. He said, why the F would I do that then? I said, all right, what do you do? He said, I said, I contact people. He said, now, if I make 100 outbound phone calls, I'm going to get voicemail 80 to 90% of the time. He said, I leave voice messages. He said, I send emails, I send texts. And I alternate, every single month somebody gets something different. So they're not getting a call every month or an email every month or a text every month. And he says, I say the exact same thing every time I contact him. I said, what is that? He said, I offer to be of service. I said, so go into some detail. He said, watch this. And he literally opens up his database, pulls up a lady's name. I'll never forget her. Again, this was 5 years ago. Mrs. McGregor. I can't remember this guy's last name, but I can remember the customer's last name. So he puts it on speakerphone. He goes, I'm supposed to call her today, this month. I emailed her last month. I texted her the month before. But I'm going to say exactly the same thing to her, whether she picks up the phone or not. So sure enough, he puts it on speakerphone, and he dials the number, and it goes to voicemail. And here's the message that he left her. He said, Miss McGregor, this is Tom from Chesron. That's the name of the dealership he works in. No need to call me back unless there's something I can do for you. And by the way, I remember you're in the office products business. I told you I'd send you referrals, and anyone that I've ever come across looking for office products, I always send them to you. This is Tom, your sales guy. Have a great day. I said, you're offering her referrals. He goes, I offer to send any of my customers who are in a business where referrals are possible. Not everybody's in a business where referrals will work. He goes, I offer to send my customers referrals. And they in turn never forget me. And I asked a question that you're probably thinking. I said, well, don't people get tired of hearing from you every single month? He goes, of course they do. He goes, from time to time, I'll get a text back or an email back, or they'll pick up the phone, or I'll even get a return phone call saying, hey, Tom, I'm never going to forget you. You don't need to contact me every single month. He goes, and I won't. I'll put them on a quarterly rotation. But he said, Steve, this way, nobody ever forgets who I am. I know most people don't know, because again, he reiterated, I never asked somebody for a referral. And he also explained relationships to me. He said, look, the first time I sell somebody a car, there's no relationship there. I just didn't screw it up. I was a nice enough guy and did a good enough job for them to buy a car from me the first time. He goes, the relationship starts after the sale. If they don't have a job where I can send referrals, I just say, hey, no need to call me back unless there's something I can do for you. No need to email me back. No need to text me back unless there's something I can do for you. Now, he goes, based on the age of the vehicle, oftentimes I'll offer to set a service appointment for them, offer to meet them back there. But I'm constantly offering to be of service to the customer. And that's how I get 15 to 20 referrals every single month. I thought it was fairly brilliant. And I've spread this word, I've been spreading this word for a long time. And lots of salespeople have emailed me back or called me, or when I've gone back to the dealerships, they said, hey, I'm getting more referrals now by not asking for them. But again, the way you do it is working, so I wouldn't change a thing about that. And you know me, if it works, it's good. Do you advertise yourself? Forget spending money. Do you advertise yourself on social media?
Oh yeah.
Tell me about that.
All the time.
Tell
I
me
do
about
videos.
That. I know you do videos.
Go out in the parking lot and I'll just, say hello. I'll talk about the day mostly.
Right.
How beautiful it is outside or something. And then I'll say, don't forget, I'm your car lady if you need any help. You have my number, or you can DM me. I'll be glad to get back with you. If you
Good.
have any questions, you can reach me
Good. Now where do you post those videos?
on Facebook.
On Facebook? Okay.